Greetings, everyone. We want to welcome you today to the We Are Flora Pearl podcast. I am your host, Latasha J Humphrey, founder of the Flora Pearl Foundation Incorporated. I believe this podcast today will be amazing. But before we get started, we want to welcome our audience and let them know that this broadcast is being brought to you by the Flora Pearl Foundation, where our vision is bridging the gap, building a legacy. Our mission is that we are a 501c3, community-focused nonprofit mentoring organization, building healthy relationships and partnerships between women and girls through education, community service, networking, unification, and career planning. Our inspiration is Flora Pearl Humphrey. She was my paternal grandmother, and although she passed away in 2001 of a massive heart attack, she taught me and my family a lot about faith, family, and community. And that has stuck with me through the years. And so her heart as a giver is where my inspiration comes from. Now, audience, I have the pleasure of introducing a true friend of mine to you. We met as contestants once. It was a pageant once called Miss Birmingham Heritage Pageant back in 1999. And we've remained consistent and with, at least keeping in touch with one another in various ways throughout the years. For 3 consecutive years, she has been a part of our Matters of the Heart event, and she's just been there for me, no questions asked, and for that, I'll never forget her. Plus, she's just a real good sister friend, and she has a special place in my heart. So without further ado, I introduce to you Millicent Payne-Lindsay. Hi, Millicent.
Hi, Tasha. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. We're just so honored to have you. And if you would, just go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Millicent Payne-Lindsay, and I am affectionately known as a makeup artist in the city. So if you hear my name or if someone mentions my name, people automatically associate me with makeup artistry, and I go by the name of Millicent Payne Beauty. I am married to Keith Lindsay, and we have 2 beautiful children, 2 sons, David, who is 16 years old, and little Porter, who is 4 years old. And that's pretty much who I am and what you may know or hear about me. And I guess you'll learn more. We'll do more fact-finding as the podcast continues.
Yeah. And if you would, just I want to, kind of talk about your business. And like you were saying, Millicent Payne Beauty. And I know you've done some recent branding and different things like that. Mm-hmm. And but just, kind of getting started, if you just share, just what gave you, the insight and just that passion to birth that vision. Okay.
Well, it's ironic, Tasha, that you reached out to me because there was a conversation that you and I had in 1999. Now, this is well before I even thought about doing makeup, but we were in the room preparing for not necessarily auditions, but we were preparing for rehearsal, and we were just talking about what we were doing in life and the things that we wanted to accomplish and do. And you were more so the leader. You were talking about some things that you wanted to do, and it just awakened something in me. And I remember you speaking on self-esteem and purpose, and how God had given you a vision called Catwalk Entertainment, where it was a program, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it focused on empowering young girls and women to be confident and to walk in their purpose and to do it without fear, to be courageous. And that awakened something in me because I knew that there was purpose inside of me, but I really didn't know how to tap into it. Neither did I know how to put feet to my face. And hearing a young woman, because you and I were very similar in age, we had a lot of similarities. It's funny that we even had children around the same time.
I know, right?
But, and so you did not know what you were saying to me, and what you were saying to me birthed something in me that will ultimately become Millicent Payne Beauty. So what happened was you planted that seed, Tasha. I went back to think, wow, this girl is on fire. This girl has a vision. This girl is walking in purpose. God, what is it that I need to do, God? I want that same tenacity. I want that same boldness. And you had such a confidence about yourself. And what I began to do as a result of the seed that you planted in me, I watered the seed and began to really think about what it is that I enjoy doing and what I love doing. That led into makeup artistry. Even much so, when people ask now, how did I get started? What they don't understand is it's a gift from God, because I went to a church where makeup was forbidden. Women could not wear pants. We could not watch television as children. There were a lot of secular events and secular things that happened that we could not be a part of. So what I would do, Tasha, I would go into the bathroom and I would do these makeovers on myself. I would take Crayola crayons, and I would take the red Crayola crayon because it was the one that was the most pigmented, and I would color my lips.
Wow.
And then I would take Scotch tape, and I would put it on my fingernails, and I would color it. And then I would get a Goody brush that was like the most stern and firm brush that my mom would use to pull me and my sister's edges back. I would get the Goody brush, and I would sing, because I do sing as well. And I would hold my fingernails, my make-believe fingernails with the Scotch tape out, and I would look at my lips. And I just thought I was so pretty. I thought I was so beautiful. But that was what was in me. And as I became of age and I began to pursue my love for beauty, all things beauty, I realized that it was a gift that God had given me, because I had never been around makeup. I had never been around any type of beauty products. And when I would see women, God would ultimately give me a vision on how their makeup needed to look. And I would pick up brushes and I just would begin to paint. So I can't even explain when people ask me how to do makeup. I will try to teach technique, but ultimately my gift and what I do is strictly came from God. And it resulted or started with the seed that you planted almost 20 years ago.
Wow. And I mean, oh my goodness, girl. Look, I'm trying to just hold it together. But because I remember I had never, until that, I think it was a posting one time on Facebook. And it was with the picture, one of the pictures that you posted of me. And I think I shared it or something like that. And I was thanking you, for, just you being there. And you mentioned that, and you're so right, with the catwalk entertainment. That's so funny. And I mean, but that sparked something in me. And I just remember you having me just bawling, like I was just in tears, because I said, it's amazing that, God will always have a witness. He'll have someone there where they can attest to wherever it began, a part of that's been on your journey. But I didn't even know that that's what happened, really, as far as it being planted in you. I knew, what I talked about, or this is what I was doing. But you just really blessed me with that. So I appreciate you for sharing it then when you shared it on that post, and then even, talking about that now and sharing. So thank you for the seed, you did too. I mean, just with saying something at that time. And I appreciate you so much for that.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And that's why when you reached out to me initially with the first Matters of the Heart event, I knew, and I couldn't tell you at that time, I knew the door of opportunity would open. But when you asked, that's why I was quick without hesitation to say yes, because you were very instrumental in me being where I was without even being aware of it.
Wow.
So it was my way of giving back what you gave to me without even knowing that you were planting or depositing a seed at that time. So it was a way for me to give you the harvest of that seed that was planted.
Yeah. That's really powerful. And even in attest to that, I want you to share, because I'm really big, like you said, even with the empowering women and girls, and I'm really big on entrepreneurship. I just truly believe that there is a gift in each of us, and it's really about us tapping into it and being able to walk in purpose. And so, whether it's someone wanting to be a makeup artist, or, they're wanting to just pursue their dreams as an entrepreneur, can you share some helpful points with aspiring entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. The first thing that I want to say is God has purposed and given everybody a gift. He has given us something. So I would encourage each and every person that is listening, whatever it is that you're passionate about, if it's entrepreneurship, if it's business, you can do it, and it does not take money or a lot of money to do so. All it takes is a will. You have to will yourself into your purpose and entrepreneurship. If you want it, you can have it. You can do it. And it does not mean that you have to have all of these degrees. It doesn't mean that you have had to have a certain pedigree and come from a certain background. All it takes is a will, courage, and faith to actually walk out whatever this entrepreneurship is. Now, when it comes to me, the way that I look at entrepreneurship is I like to make my own shots. I like to call my own shots. I like to flow and roll the way I want to roll. And I like to work the way I want to work when I want to work. So that fuels me to get up and go after what I want. You don't have to have all of the answers. You don't have to dot every I and cross every T. All you have to do is take a step and you start walking. On the flip side, there are some mood points and some pain points that everyone needs to consider. You have to understand your market. You have to understand what is the product or service that you want to offer. That's number one. Number two, you want to understand if there are other barriers or if there are other people or companies that is providing your product or service. And you want to know what they're doing, what they've done well, what they've done poorly. And all of this information is available online via different sources like Yelp, YELP. There are different reviews that's online. Most companies have websites, but you want to do your market research. You want to make sure that whatever it is that you are doing, that you give yourself that edge. What is going to make you or your service or product stand out from any other company or entity that may be offering your product or service? The next thing that you want to do is you always want to make sure that whatever it is that you're using in terms of logos, in terms of branding, and I'm going to talk about branding, that those items are not already taken. So you want to go to TESS.com and make sure that no one is using whatever slogan, whatever company name, or whatever logo that you want to use. You want to make sure that you secure that, because if it is a product or service and others see that it has the propensity to become grand or great, and if it's not secured, someone can take it and you can lose all rights, lose all the rights to whatever business that you build. But let's talk about branding, and this is going to tie into reputation. This is going to tie into purpose. Let's talk about branding yourself. If you know already that you want to be an entrepreneur, your time to brand yourself is now. You may think that it is backwards, but it's actually forward thinking. This is what I mean by saying brand yourself now. Branding is not a logo. Branding is not a website. Branding is building rapport and or your reputation with all of the people that are connected to you and or know you. So when your name is mentioned or called, what comes to mind? What does that person or the group of people think about you or say about you from a majority standpoint? We're not talking about, okay, you had a run-in with Bobo and them. Okay, that's a one-off. But we're talking about holistically, what do people know or think about you and your name? So when you enter into the entrepreneurship role, you have already branded yourself. What are you saying on social media? What are your interactions like with the people that you go to church with or that you work with? What are your private conversations like with the people that you go to church with or you work with. You are building your brand every time you open your mouth, every time you leave your home, every time you have a conversation, every time you post a status, every time you send a text message, every time you respond to an email. You are branding yourself. Therefore, it is very important for you to be careful and to be mindful of everything that you put out in the stratosphere, because none of that information ever is deleted. And when I say deleted, a text message can never be deleted, even though you may delete it off a phone. If you send a picture, you send a nasty gram to someone, that information is always stored in the cloud, and in due time, or if necessary, that information can always be retrieved. But I'm saying all that to say, it is so important how you build yourself and your reputation, because once you enter the entrepreneurship role and you launch this business, or you launch this idea, or you provide this service, will people want to do business with you? If you've been nasty to everyone and you have one post where you're talking about the Lord, or you're talking about your business, or you're saying something positive in one post, and then the next post you're going off and throwing off on someone that has offended you, guess what? You're affecting your brand. And regardless of you may have positive branding behind yourself, you may have negative branding. But what's most important is that you focus on building a positive reputation, because reputation is simply branding. So do not get the two mixed up. Branding is not logos. It is not websites. That is a byproduct of your brand. Get that? That's a byproduct of your brand. Your brand is who you are as a person and how people perceive you and how they'll receive you.
Wow. Ooh, okay. That's, you have shared a lot. I mean, even with the branding, just bringing up some different things, I mean, and I've always known about, of course, the things that you put out there. But I definitely want to kind of go back a little bit as it relates to, say, when you were talking about what they know you for, just different things. I wanted to know if you're a type of person, say just being a visionary, you know how and being a visionary, you seeing things ahead and you could have ideas just everywhere. How do you channel those? And I mean, where, would you say write them down, to pursue later, but how do you then build on that and being visionaries? Because it is, and I have to say, even for me, I've had to, there's certain ways I have to channel certain things back, because I'm always, I confess over my mind. My mind is a gold mine. So I have supernatural recall. That's something every day that I say. And so it's like ideas just everywhere. But I want to know, with you, how do you handle that?
Right. Okay. It's a very good question. And I'm happy you asked. And the reason I'm happy you asked is because I recently soft launched an eyewear line. Haven't, again, made it big to the public. I'll probably do that this evening. But that's a vision that I had. Okay. Now, if most people that know me, that are close to me, know that I have a full-time job. Okay. I am in school full-time. I run a small business. I'm active in ministry, and my mind is still growing. Okay. Yes. So what has happened on my end and how I have channeled it, we're gonna not talk about my full-time job, because that's just a secular job that I'm using as a stream of income right now. Okay. So let's talk about the vision that God has given me, what He's put in me. Let's talk about makeup. We know that my makeup business is something that a lot of people know about already. Now, when God gives me a vision for something else, I have to discipline myself and say, okay, let me write this down, and let me put it in writing. I may write the title of God gave me the theme to an event. Let's just say we're just going to use that as an example. I literally write it down and I come back to it, because I want to master one thing first.
Yes.
I want to make sure that those processes, the procedures, that they are working properly before I move on to the next thing. Okay, so there's a term that is often used. It is, to be the master of all trades and the jack of none, or the jack of all trades.
The master of none, right?
That's because you got all the stuff going on, but your stuff is tore up. You don't have a good customer service system in place, or you started this. You started a blog. I'm just using this as an example, and you're all excited about it, but then you don't update the blog for months. That just kind of fell down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
Then you moved on to the next thing. I truly believe that it is God's intent for us to do everything in decency and in order. And even though you may get excited about a vision or multiple visions that you have, let's make good on one. And let's master that. Let's master that process. Let's master that vision. If it's truly a God vision, number one, he's not going to give you a vision without provision. So we have to tap into what it is that he wants us to do, and then we have to do that. And then we have to make good on it. We have to master it so that it brings him glory. And then once he realizes, okay, you have taken care of the vision that I've given you for A, and I've already planted B. Now that you've got A not necessarily done, but you've gotten it off the ground, and that's working, let's move on to B. And I say pace yourself because it can become very overwhelming. Because, Latasha, if you're anything like me, my mind never shuts off.
Hello, okay.
I'm always, like you said, I have a mind of gold. Like, I know my mind is a gold mine.
Yes.
I'm a visionary. I'm creative. I'm not creative like interior decorating. Like, I can't go and decorate your house like Better Homes and Gardens, but I bet you one thing, I can come up with a creative idea to execute. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I have to stay focused and say, okay, Millicent, even though you have a vision to do B, A still is a little toe up. Let's make sure that every loophole is closed and that you have perfected the process, the procedure, or whatever it is whatever that business venture is before you move to the next. And then once you do that, you're going to take what you've learned from A, and when you do B, you're like, okay, well, I learned this. It can be completely different business ventures, but there's going to be something that you learn, something that you develop and you hold on to as you go into B. Learn all that you can from one to take that into the next, and then you'll move to the next. So I just say it takes discipline. So pace yourself. Don't be anxious. It will come. Just make sure that you don't overexert yourself to where you ignore what you started, because what you don't want to be is a person that is known for starting something but never finishing it.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's also a part of branding.
Yes,
if you're known for that, then that will follow you, and it will kind of hinder or cripple and or paralyze the next venture that you have in terms of people supporting and really being confident in what you do, in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So just pace yourself and perfect.
Right.
What you already have going on.
And I want to, to ask you about this, because we know too, I know you and we talked about, just even our history from before, and how just, we even connected, or just how we impacted one another. And I got an opportunity to share that with you. And, but along the way, you have people who they're for you, and then you have those that at some point, you outgrow those people. I want you to more so speak into definitely our younger women, and, just as it relates to the company they keep, but also knowing, when it comes to when the cloud has moved, how to really transition with that.
Right. That's very good, Tasha. And that's an awesome segue into what I want to say next in terms of just purpose and being in a posture, in a position to where God can elevate you to the next dimension in your life. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. It is so pertinent and important for you to evaluate every person that is in your life. There was something that one of my former pastors said that really blessed me, and I want you all to hear me good. There are two types of people in our lives. There are pallbearers, and there are armor bearers. Pallbearers take you to your grave. Armor bearers take you to your destiny. You have to evaluate every person in your life and figure out which category they fall into. And if someone is a pallbearer, what I mean by that is they don't speak into your life. They don't speak life into you. They're always Debbie Downers. They're negative. They're jealous. They're gossipers. They don't encourage you. They actually weigh you down. They are weighty. They just bring around negative energy. Guess what? Being around negative energy will also drain your creative energy.
Yes.
Those are pallbearers. They are taking you to your vision grave, to your grave. They can be emotional pallbearers, mental pallbearers, sometimes financial, your loan money. Any way that a person can bring death to your life in any area of your life, you need to cut them off and let them go and be okay with it. Yes. Because you want to be around armor bearers. You want to be around people that support you, people that not necessarily you're leeching on them and they can give you money or they can help you get to the next level. No, armor bearers are those people that realize the greatness that's in you, because greatness is in you. Right. But there are people that realize the greatness that's in you, and you know what they do? They tap into that and they help you become greater. So if you're having a moment and you're down, that person speaks life into you. They don't leave you there. They're going to pick you up and help you get to the next level. They're the people that will embrace the vision that you have. So there are people that, hey, I want to start my own lip gloss line, or, oh, I like to bake cakes, or I like to do photography. Well, girl, I'll be your model. You can always take pictures of me, instead of saying, girl, why do you want to do that? Everybody is doing that. You want that's a pallbearer. You want to get with people that's going to help you get to your destiny and get there much faster. So if someone is not meeting that criteria, it is okay. The reason it's okay because Jesus had how many disciples? He had 12. Okay. But he only took 3 with him. Right. That lets you know that it is okay for you to leave some people behind. Because everybody cannot go where you are going. And it is okay. Yes. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. They just don't align with the plan of God for your life. Mm-hmm. So when the cloud shifts and moves, so should the people that are not bringing you to a place of happiness, a place of solidarity, a place of peace, and ultimately your destiny.
That's a good word. Thank you for sharing that, because I, love to just pass on, what I call pearls of wisdom, especially with someone who's, they're in it and they are successful at what they do, because you are, and I know you've had to deal with just different relationships along the way. And it's about how you do it, how you do it with class and grace. And so I've watched you just in different ways. And I'm just proud, that you are one of my sister friends. And so thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to, now kind of segue into community service. And I know you mentioned earlier, about being part of ministry. And so not only that, I'm sure there are other things and other ways that you serve the community. If you would, just kind of share about those.
Yeah. Well, I always look for ways I lead a very busy life. I do. I only have one day a week where I can't even say that I get to sleep in because I'm serving in ministry. I really have no off days. But that is going to be changing soon. However, I do seek opportunities to give back to the community, and I am a big philanthropist. Even much so, I recently gave into, there's an organization called The Link, and you all can Google them. It is an organization of about 45,000 plus women that actually serve the community, and they're geared towards young women. So they go out into the community and they empower them with tools and resources to really live and survive. And so I'm connected to the Link. I'm one of their sponsors. I also have served at I can't think of the name of the center, but Maria Lampley, Latasha is the director. I'm not sure.
Is it Pathways? Yes, Pathways.
Yes. Yeah, so with Pathways, I'll go in there and I'll do beauty makeovers for the residents there. Also, with the Love Lady Center, I recently partnered with a hairstylist, and we are launching a YouTube or a web series called From Battered to Better. So we're taking all of the women who have been victims of abuse, and we are doing complete makeovers from hair to clothes and beauty and makeup. So again, it's called From Battered to Better. And I'm a contributor to the United Way, and I actually contribute to the Girls Club and the Boys Club as well. So I think it's very important that we also put our money where our mouth is. You know, and service does help, and so I do serve. But I also like to give to support organizations that are really there to really help further and better our community and really pour into the lives of the less fortunate and those who just really have hit, I guess, a valley in their life and need to know that someone cares. So those are some of the contributions that I've made to the community. And I foresee myself doing actually more. That's my goal for 2018. Can I talk about goals real quick? I just really want to give this tip.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about goals. I don't know how many of you all have goals. And I often hear people say, well, my goal is to A, B, C, D, and E. There is no way for you to know that you've been successful with a goal until you write your goal down. How do you measure? So if your goal is I want to lose 20 pounds by October, you have to write that down, and then you have to work on the goal. I want to lose 20 pounds by October 31st. Well, when October 31st comes, you can measure your goal because you set a goal. You can't just throw a goal into the atmosphere with your mouth. My goal is to become debt-free. Okay, what are you doing? How are you measuring that? So I will admonish everyone, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to go into business for yourself, or whatever it is that you have goaled for yourself, write it down and then set a deadline. That way you can measure if you have been successful at achieving or accomplishing the goal. You got to do something a little different in order to get the results. I was notorious for setting a verbal goal, and if it was not before me, I never was successful with that. So write down your goals. Same thing as a vision, but write down your goals and set a deadline.
Yes.
That way you can measure if you have been successful. You cannot say that you've been successful with the goal. And then I would encourage you to always do a SWOT analysis on yourself.
Yes.
SWOT. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? And if the common denominator is you, then you need to work on yourself.
Okay.
And you need to, if your common denominator, if your threat, if my strength is me, I'm weak, I have most opportunities, I'm my own threat, then okay, we need to go to the Lord and pray about that. But set those things and watch your life change. If you change your thinking and your doing, you're going to change your life.
Yes. That's awesome that you even just said that too, because I had to do that for, the Flora Pro Foundation and with my strategic planner. And that's been, but you have to be, you have to do that if you want to be successful, But yeah, you can try to skate over it if you want to. Like you said, just put it out in the atmosphere. I'm just going to say, this is what I'm going to do. But how do you know? Just like you said, how do you measure it? So that's good stuff. That's good. Well, we're going to kind of segue into what I call mother-daughter bonds. And basically, it's a series of questions that I would like for you to answer. And it kind of the goal is to help encourage even more conversations among mothers and daughters. And it also is a good way for people to get to know you, on a different level. And so, are you ready?
I am.
All right. So what book most influenced you?
The Bible. And I'm not trying to be deep, but the Bible.
Okay. And what keeps you grounded?
My children.
Perfect. And if you weren't a business owner, what would you be?
If I weren't a business owner, Lord, what would I be? Well, what I'm doing now, an engineer.
Okay. Okay. And what are the 3 qualities that got you where you are today?
My attitude, my perseverance, and my faith.
Okay. What is the easiest career decision that you've ever made?
To walk off of a job of 14 years to pursue my purpose.
Perfect. What work would you do for free?
Makeup.
Okay. What question do you wish more people would ask you?
Can I offer you a free vacation?
I love it. What is the favorite perk? I like that too. Look, what is the favorite perk of being an entrepreneur?
Setting your own schedule.
Okay. And what is the last thing that you binge watched?
Ooh, honey, this is ratchet, but love a hip hop Atlanta.
Okay. I love it. I love it. What is something that every woman should do once in her lifetime?
Ooh. Get married.
Okay. Where would you like to visit if you could go anywhere?
Hawaii.
Okay. What is your favorite kind of food?
All things full of calories. My favorite kind of food is desserts.
Okay. Okay. And then basically the last one is, what advice would you give to a woman with a broken heart?
Forgive. Quickly.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Well, we're gonna move into our faith segment, and I just love to to have our guests to share, to encourage our audience. Share a time when your faith has been tested and how you came through it.
Okay, so this is going to be a very transparent moment. So hopefully it's okay.
Yeah.
But I hope that this will encourage someone. I went through a very dark place in my life, and it resulted in me losing a home.
Okay.
And it was while I was married, and I walked into a situation where I did not know that things were what they were when I got married at my husband's home, fiance at the time, my husband's home. But long story made short, it resulted in us losing a home. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, during that process, I was struggling financially because I was the only one working. And some bills fell behind, which ultimately impacted my credit. And young people, some of you all may not understand credit at this point or at this time of your life, but the older that you get, the more you will understand. And I will hope that your parents are teaching you about credit, mm-hmm. because it will change your life. The lack thereof and or the abundance thereof. Either way, it's mm-hmm. going to change your life. Mm-hmm. So long story made short, we lost our home, and neither one of us had the credit because my husband had a foreclosure on his credit, and I did not have proper credit to get a new home because of me being the only person with an income and trying to juggle bills galore. Well, I cried out to God because my husband and I were nearly homeless. Nobody knew we went through this, okay? And God led me to this website, and I just went onto the website and I put in, these were my exact words, I need to rent a home, but I have bad credit. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I put into the Google search engine. And I found this link, and the link didn't sound legit, but I just decided to go with it. It was called Point Cartwright Properties. But anyway, and I started looking at all these different homes that were in different neighborhoods that were really nice. But these are like beautiful brick, 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 4-bedroom, 2, all of these beautiful homes. I'm thinking like, and the price that they were to rent, it was like cheaper than apartments. And I said, this has got to be a joke. Again, long story short, I reached out to one of the properties. The guy answered the phone, told me I could actually come look at it. He was about to rent it. My husband and I went to look at the property. We absolutely loved it. Well, he said, well, we need to do a credit check on you. And I'm thinking like, did I not just put this thing right. And they led me? They led me to this site. What is this? See, I knew it was a whole thing because I've had off this site. So I said, but something said, just hush your mouth. So I said, okay, sir. Now I knew my credit was tore up, and my husband had a foreclosure, and his was tore up too. So we did the paperwork, and the guy called back like within 10 minutes of us both submitting our paperwork. And I was just shaking, and he said, you know, y'all don't have the credit to get this house, which I knew that already. So I felt like, Google, you let me down. Mm-hmm, well, right. He said, so he asked me about some of the items. He said, well, Ms. Payne or Ms. Lindsay, he said, you don't have bad credit, just your credit. You just have a few items on your credit report. You know, what are these? They're small items. I mean, they were petty items like medical bills and things like that, Tasha. So he said, well, let me do this for you. He said, I want you to enter my credit program. He said, I use this company. I'm a broker for one of them. And if you will sign up and enroll in this company to repair your credit, he said, this is not one of those people where you pay all this money and they just automatically fix your credit. He said, they're legit. They're part of the BBB. You can go to the Better Business Bureau, look them up. They are what they are. And so he said, I will allow you to move in this house. He said, but you got to sign up. He said, you got to promise me and sign up a contract saying that you are going to get your credit together. I said, that's all. He said, that's it. He said, you and your husband could come get the keys. I said, okay. Well, we signed up for the credit program when it was me because my husband could not get the rental house because he had a foreclosure, but they allowed me to get it with the bad credit within a year. Now, this white man didn't know me from anybody. He owns all these homes. He lives in Mobile. But then he said, it's something about you. I want to help you out. He said, I don't know what it is, but it's something about you. So just sign up for this program. I said, yes, sir. So I pay my bills on time, Mr. Man. I said, those are just petty bills. And so he let me in the house. Within 2 months, I had referred 2 people. He gave me my rent for free the next month. Just a lot of stuff. I stayed enrolled in the program. I got my credit back on track. A year later, I was building a house that I wanted. So I went from foreclosure, being homeless, to living in a rental property, to building a home. But I want to encourage someone to let them know this. You cannot look at those elephants and those giants, because the bigger the giant, the harder the fall is going to be. You got to know that this may be big, but you got to fall from me. Whatever it is that is crippling you, that is making you feel as though you're not worthy, that you can't have. It was a complete test of my faith, because I just saw what was in the past, and God reminded me. He said, Millicent, I put your feet in front of you for a reason. There is a reason your eyes are in front of you. There's a reason you drive forward. There is a reason that we walk forward, because I never intended for you to go back. I never intended for you to look back. Looking back is an act of Satan, because what people want to do is they want to remind you of what you did. They want to remind you of what you used to do or what you used to be like. They always want to remind you of what your past credit is with them, or credibility. But God said, I'm restoring you. And the only thing I need you to do is trust me, and then you need to walk it out. Had I never gone to Google and been honest with Google about what my situation was, and had I not clicked on that link, had I not turned in the paperwork, because I already knew what things were, I would have never been in the home, the rental home, and I would have never had my house built. So it was a matter of me trusting God, but I had to do my part. I had to die to my pride, and I had to come to reality with what was going on. And in order for me to get to the place where I needed to be in God, I had to let go. And I had to get some things together because I had to be the example to someone else. So I want to help someone and encourage someone that no matter what it is, don't be embarrassed by what you're going through. No, you don't have to go and tell people, but you can take your things to the Father. But it is so important to be authentic and very organic about where you are, what's going on with you, because God has already figured out the answer. God already knows. He already has everything in place. He's just waiting for you to make that step. You gotta make the step, and you can't be embarrassed by what you've done. The only thing you can do is move beyond what you've done and move forward. Walk forward, run forward, drive forward, look forward. Keep it moving. God has something great for you.
That is perfect. Oh, wow. That's blessed me today, and I know our audience definitely will be blessed. There will be someone they will take from that. So thank you for being transparent and sharing that. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, we're gonna move into our closing segment, and it's called Matters of the Heart Moment. And the first thing I wanted to ask was, if you had the opportunity to speak to your 4-year-old self, what would you say to her?
If I had an opportunity to speak to my 4-year-old self, I would say, trust God in all of thy ways, acknowledge Him, and He's going to do the directing. All you got to do is do the trusting. Just trust Him.
Yeah. Awesome.
Because when I was younger, Tasha, I wasn't taught. I don't have the tools that a lot of young people have now, being in word-based churches.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have that.
Yes.
They weren't around or prevalent. And so we were just taught hell or damnation.
Yes.
We were not taught about how to survive, how to live, how to have faith. We weren't taught those. We weren't equipped with those tools to live. We weren't equipped with those tools to survive. So a lot of me not having was attached to me not trusting, and me not trusting was because of me not knowing, and me not knowing was because I wasn't taught.
Right.
So again, if I was 4 years old, I would say, no matter what, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways, you will acknowledge Him, and He's going to do the directing. All you got to do is do the trusting.
That's awesome. Yes, yes, perfect. And who motivates you?
My children.
Okay.
My children.
Okay. What was the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
My dad taught me as a young girl, he said, Millicent, your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. So in layman's terms, what that means is your attitude, how you treat people, how you respond, how you react, not how smart you are and how much you know, will determine how far you grow. Not go in life, but how far you grow in life. So again, y'all remember, your attitude, not your aptitude, determines your altitude.
Perfect. And do you have any last-minute piece of advice that you would like to share?
I do. I just want to tell everyone, I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be encouraged and know that all goals are attainable. You've got to trust God. You've got to know without a doubt what He's put inside of you. I would challenge each of you all to ask for a greater sense of discernment in terms of what it may be, or anything that could impact, cripple, or derail you from attaining your destiny. Your purpose is directly connected to your destiny, and the way that you walk in purpose is not about you getting results. It's about what God has put in you. And the example I want to use is, someone may have a job, and they may be, say, in customer service, and they may have great numbers. They are getting results, but they hate their job. That's because they are not walking in purpose. So just because you're getting good results does not mean that that's what God has purposed you to do. What He's purposed you to do is what He's passioned you to do. what you're passionate about. So don't get stuck in a position and a posture just because you are producing results and misconstrue that means you're walking in purpose. Your purpose is not attached to results. Your purpose is attached to passion. Walk it out. Trust God. Believe it. Attain it. And watch the windows of heaven be open just for you because you are walking in purpose.
That is excellent. And thank you. I think you have blessed everybody today. So I truly appreciate you for sharing.
Very good. We thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. And our goal at the Flora Pearl Foundation is to be a blessing to all of those that we come in contact with by operating with the spirit of excellence. Audience, we want to thank you so much for listening today. And you can visit our website at www.florapearlfoundation.org. We look forward to spending time with you all each week, and we will talk to you soon.